Hi guys, so welcome to yet another series on Python functions. If this is your first time to this video, we have done a couple of videos, video tutorials talking about a simple Python function with a parameter. We've looked at a simple Python function. So this is like the third part of it. So we are going to be looking at making positional arguments in a Python function. As you know, I'm going to document here. So I'm going to have my documentation here, and then I'm going to write the code over here. So what are we trying to do? Now, we are trying to look at creating more than one parameter, more than one parameter in a Python function. So that's what we're going to do. So first off, when you call a function, we have parameters, right? So we have parameters. And so now what we're going to do, each parameter represents an argument, right? So we have parameters, we have arguments, right? But we have, since we started this, we have only, had one parameter. So we're going to have parameters and arguments. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function. So what I'm going to call this, describe underscore job underscore bio. Right, so reading this gives you a sense of what I'm trying to do, right? Now, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to put the parenthesis. And so this, optionally, we can have a parameter in here, which would eventually make for our argument. So here I'm going to put two parameters, right? So I'm going to call this job underscore type. And then the next one is going to be the dev underscore name. So that's the developer's name, right? And then I go over here and I add the colon. So we're going to have an indentation. So where we're going to have a block of codes, right? Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to have my function definition, documentation. So I call it the function doc. So here I'm just going to introduce my multi-line, my doc string basically. And so here I'm going to call this display data role and developer's name. So that's what that's going to be, right? So yeah, that's what I have. So that's my function doc. That's what I have done. So let's just call this 1, and then we'll call this 2. Now the third thing I'm looking to do is I'm going to write the code itself. So we're going to have the code block. So this is going to be the code block. So what do I have here? I'm going to just use the simple print statements, and I use the f string, which is like string formatter, and I'll say my data role is, then I use a curly brace so that I could reflect this. So I just, okay, let me just call this job role, not job type. So it's intuitive. So I'm just going to call this the job role, right? So my job role is, it's going to be that. Then another print statement in the block, the task that the function is going to perform, right? That's what a function does. It has a specific task. So here I'm going to use this again, an f string, and I say my name is, and as usual, we're just going to put this as dev name, right? So this is it. We've done that, and then we run this. No error. And then we come over here. So now we're just going to make our function call. And over here, for documentation, I call this the function call, right? Now I come over here to make my function call, and I just call my, yep. And just for the record, you're just going to see that our function display data role and developer's name. So which is fine. Now I have to now put more than one parameter. So here I am basically going to put my role. Let's say data science instructor. That's what I'm going to call it. Right, and my name Pablo. And so when I call this, you can see it. My data role is data science instructor. My name is Pablo. So you can see we're looking at positional argument, right? So the thing we're trying to ask ourselves is, in as much as we can have more than one, we have multiple arguments here. This is what we've done. We have multiple parameters. Does this actually matter? Does order matter? So that's the question we're going to be asking here. Does order matter? Oh, hold on. Does order matter? So how do we answer this? So what we're going to do, just stick to this, right? In the next video, we're going to talk about if order matters, right? But yeah, and then we're going to figure out how do we deal with order and positional arguments when we have to ensure that order matters. So again, take your time and watch this simple Python function making positional arguments. Our first job here is to create a function with multiple parameters, and when we call it. Then the next question we have now, does order matter? And when we're talking about order, we're talking about arguments. We're talking about arguments here. So stick around, like, subscribe, and share, right?